You join me today on the River Wye, underneath the famous road bridge in town. I'm just baiting up my swim at the start of the session. 8 big balls of ground bait onto the 5 metre line. Now the river's going through a bit today, so I'm targeting that with a 10 gram flat float. And I'm just going to inch the rig through over that ground bait. There we go, instant response. I'm expecting to catch roach, they've been showing well here. There we go, straight away. Fish around ½ pound. Bait mix I'm using is an ABC ground bait, Match Pro River and Match Pro Roach. Now I've mixed up 1 bag of River with ½ bag of Roach. These ground baits are really easy to mix. Just put the dry ingredients into a big bait bucket and add water until you're happy with the consistency. I find it best to slightly over wet it initially. Now as the ground bait absorbs the moisture and water, it comes to a nice consistency that'll hold lots of particles, hemp casters and dead maggots. These excellent ground baits can be purchased direct from ABC, and I'll leave a link in the description. You'll also find ABC have good quantities of maggots and casters, all available for next day delivery. Nice roach. I'm fishing the rig today on a short line, so I'm breaking off at the 5 metre section. A couple of reasons for that. You've got the bridge above my head makes it difficult to lift a long whip, but the fish tend to lie anyway on the inside of the shelf, so there's a bit of a drop off in this peg, but it's quite snaggy. It drops from 3 foot down to 7 foot. By fishing a short line from pole to tip, I can keep real good close control over the float and really inch it down the peg. Today these fish are taking at about half the pace of the flow. Another nice roach. About to net this one. A lot of the fish I've had are between 6 ounces and 3/4 of a pound. I'm netting most of the ones which are around the 10-12 ounce mark. Can't always tell, looks like some of them are deep hooked. I don't like swinging in deep hooked fish. keeping these fish on double caster. I'm loose feeding casters as well, loose feeding casters upstream. I'm throwing a little bit of hemp round the float. Obviously these loose offerings are bringing new fresh fish into the peg, so I'm nailing them down on the ground bait. I'm feeding a single ball of ground bait regularly, and that's what I'm catching over, and the loose fed casters are just drifting downstream, attracting more fish up to the baited area. Feeding a small ball of ground bait, most runs through. I drop that just in front of the float so I can then inch the float onto it. I think what happens is when you feed a ball of ground bait, the fish rush into it and attack the ball of ground bait and come in for the free offerings inside, and quite often you get a bite almost immediately right on top of where you've just fed. Having a reasonable day on these roach. Most of the fish I'm getting, as I say, in the 6 to 12 ounce bracket, but I'm getting a bite, most runs through. And that's what it's about here. Getting regularly bites and keeping the bites coming for the duration of your fishing session. Now there is a lot of roach on this swim, so I could keep catching on this line for probably 3-4 hours. But by feeding that loose feed, I'm always ready to pick a running line, rig up and run further down the peg if I need to search out the last few fish, or look for some bigger fish which often sit off the back of the feed. You, right. I've caught fish all day long from the first run through to the last. I think that demonstrates just how good this ABC groundbait is. It's full of rich particles and quality ingredients, and it really does keep the fish feeding in the swim for longer. Keep a lookout for the link, that'll be in the description. And I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.